So, Mel and I back again, and we are talking about this name Muhammad, which, whenever you hear it, you think Muhammad the Prophet. That is the first time that was ever used. Therefore, whenever we see references to it in early literature or on inscriptions, it must be Muhammad the Prophet, especially if we see references to it in the 7th century. We're going to dispel that. In fact, we are dispelling that. And the reason why is we're finding that this is a very common name, and it's not even a name, it's a title, man. Let's just call it a word that has been used from the very beginning. But where did this word come from? Where did it actually originate? Well, we think we now know, and it's a German scholar named Dr. Oleg, who is actually the one that has unpacked it. Some of you even know who he is, and you know where we're going to go with this. Mel has read up on this material and has put the work together. So I'm going to give it over to you, Mel. Tell us, what does and where does the root of this word come from?
So, Jay, the word is actually from the 14th century BC. So it is like 3,400 years old. That's well before the time of Islam. It is from the Ugaritic language, which is found in the west coast of Syria. And this word got taken on board by Hebrew and Arabic later. Obviously, it was a word that they liked, and they just took it, being a common Semitic language, they took it on, and the meaning was passed on through the generations. So I'm going to share my slides with you, and let's have a look at it in more detail. Okay, so all of what I'm going to share with you is based on Oleg's work. So he suggests that it's a loan word from Ugaritic, and it means desirable or precious. Now, the last episode we saw that meaning in the Bible, and that meaning was there centuries before that in the Ugaritic language, and there are texts that attest to that from the 14th through to the 12th century BC. Oleg says that in areas close to the former Phoenician territories, the term Muhammad might go back to a loanword from Ugaritic, where the form means desirable or precious, or another closely related Semitic language. The basic Semitic meaning of the Berber root might be finding something desirable or precious on account of its form or splendor. For example, if you were referring to gold or silver, you might use the word Mahmed to mean desirable. Now, it also was a word that was used in association with a collection of meanings around that idea. So the idea of Mahmed was connected to the chosen one. Okay, and I don't mean necessarily etymologically, but just as a kind of a shared religious imagery. So Jesus, for example, is the chosen one, and also the Jewish people are referred to as the chosen people. He goes on to say that in Luke's gospel, you have the word eklemenos, which is the chosen son. He also refers to Christ as the chosen of God, eklektos. Okay, so those two Greek forms are forms of the same verbal root, to choose or to elect. Thus, if Muhammad is understood as the chosen one, then the term would reflect an important biblical and Christological meaning or tradition. So the idea is that Mahmed is another way of saying the chosen one, and therefore is a Messianic title. When we started this series, we spoke about the idea that Muhammad may be used as a title. Well, here we can see in what sense Mahmed is used as a title. It refers to the Messiah, the chosen one. Do you want to come in on any of that?
Yeah, well, that's fascinating, because that's exactly the word that is used in the Quran for Jesus. Fascinating. You can see the Messiah, and that's also the anointed one, the Messiah, the chosen one, the anointed one, is what the Jews are still waiting for. They know very well that the Messiah is yet to come. They know very well that he will come there and Mount Moriah. They know very well that this is part of their prophecy. And we know that he has already come, and his name, he referred to himself as the Messiah in Matthew chapter 26, when he was there before the Sanhedrin, and he was being tried by Caiaphas. Caiaphas asked him, "Are you the Messiah, the chosen one?" And he says he agreed with it. Yes, he was. And look at the reaction of Caiaphas. He tore his robe and turned towards the Sanhedrin and said, "What further proof do we need? This man has blasphemed." So it has huge significance for those of us who are Christians, and those of us, or those Jews also. They're still waiting for him. We know that he's already come. But in this case, the eklektos, or the eklemenos, is the chosen one, which is the original name for the word Muhammad. That all puts it together. Interestingly, in the Quran, 11 times, the Messiah, the Al-Masihu is what it is in Arabic, only refers to Jesus. Only refers to Jesus. So really, if they really want to go back to even use their own Quran and start saying, let's go see who this Al-Masihu is, who is this chosen one, who is this Muhammad, they might want to be careful, because it looks like they have borrowed the very word that is needed for Isa, their Jesus, the Isa that we know, who is the chosen one and who did already come, die, and rise again.
Absolutely. So just following on from that then, another meaning of the word is glorified or highly praised, which goes back to the classical Arabic usage of the root. And that also has a good biblical and Christological basis. For example, the stone which the builders rejected has become the chief cornerstone. And then if we notice the word Baruch here and Barak, which can be translated as blessed is the one who comes in the name of the Lord, and we have blessed you from the house of the Lord. Now, that phrase that comes from the Bible, blessed is the one who comes in the name of the Lord, that obviously was used when Jesus entered Jerusalem on a donkey. The people were saying this. It obviously has a Messianic reference. So there is a word that is like Baruch in Arabic, and that is Mubarack. So it's interesting that Muslims also use Mubarack in reference to Muhammad. These are synonyms of each other. So what we find is that we have a Messianic reference to Jesus, which is Mahmed, and we also have the use of the word Barak in the Bible in reference to the Blessed One, which in both cases are referring to Jesus, and yet we have Muslims claiming these two terms, which are used by Christians to refer to Jesus, but now they're using it for Muhammad. That's quite curious, I would have thought.
Well, let me ask you this.
Any
Do you think
thoughts?
that was because of the influence of Christianity at that point, at that stage? They're borrowing these two titles for Muhammad, when in reality they were already in well use, but both referring to Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I think when my sense is that these terms were being used for Jesus, and then at some stage from the 7th through to the 9th century, this got morphed into being referred to an Arabian prophet. So they've carried over the terminology and the ideas around the Messiah, probably because they were expecting the Messiah to arrive, and they basically projected all of this on this Arabian prophet, supposedly who lived in the 7th century. But we can see that it's actually referring to Jesus all along.
So it looks like coming and going, whether it's Muhammad or Mubarack or Barak, it looks like it in every case, these words, these phrases, which are now applied to Muhammad, were earlier applied to Jesus Christ. And it could be because of the association. It could be because of the contact. It could be because of the borrowing. It could be because they want what already was given to Jesus, they want to apply to Muhammad. In every case, the words expose exactly what they're doing. And that's why it is good that we are going etymologically back and tracing back the roots for these words to see where they first existed. As we have known over and over again, haven't we, Mel, that Islam never does anything unique. They always borrow, they always plagiarize from other sources. In this case, they're plagiarizing from Jesus himself, or the reference to him. Good stuff.
Yeah, I would say Islam has not produced anything original. So if you want to dig, you'll find that they have borrowed somewhere. It's pretty much a guarantee. And in this case, we can see they have borrowed a word that goes all the way back to 3,200 years ago. It means desired one. it came to refer to Jesus, but they have taken it and put it on this Arabian prophet, and and now and they don't want people really to be aware that that's actually what it originally referred to, which is Jesus.
They're borrowing right, left, and center. They've done it with the Quran. They're also borrowing it. Looks like they've also done it with their prophet. Be careful what you borrow. That's all I say, because with the name comes the person. And when you look at the person, what a character, what a person, what a model, what a paradigm for today. Okay, terrific stuff. We're going to be going, we'll get back again. And I think the next thing we're going to look at is we're going to look at some coins and some inscriptions, because now we're going to bring it up more to the 7th century. We're going to bring it right in 7th century and see how this word was used. Am I correct on that? Do you want to just say
that's it? It's going to be interesting when we see references to Mahmed in the 7th century. What exactly are we actually seeing? Are we seeing an Arabian prophet, or could it be actually a reference to Jesus? So that's in the next episode.
Excellent, excellent. I know exactly where you're going. I can't wait. This is one of my favorite sections of these whole episodes. So I hope it's going to be your favorite as well. Come and join us. This is Jay and Mel. Over and out.